Hey everyone, I'm Craig Duncan, I'm the studio head at Rare. We wanted to get back in front of you to talk about the game. I'm here with Joe Neat, who's our exec producer, and we've been out a week.
We have indeed, yeah. And it's been a pretty hectic week, right, in terms of everything that's been going on. Obviously, having the game running live for everyone, the scale of people we've had come in, the amount of feedback we've had around the game. So yeah, been an incredible week, very hectic, very busy for everyone at the studio. And yeah, so we saw the last video we did, kind of talking around
the good response.
Yeah, and so it was like we felt that we wanted to get out in front of you again to give an update, kind of at the end of week one and before our first game update for people.
Yeah, and it's really important. It's something that's been really key to our approach, is to be transparent with people about what we're fixing, what we're focusing on. So it's been a lot's happened in the last week. We've learned a lot. And as Joe said, really our focus has been, let's make sure we can scale the game and get everyone playing the game at a scale that we're seeing, and the demand's been off the charts. I mean, it's been super humbling. We've had tons of people playing, sharing, joining the game. We've seen record numbers, much higher than we hit in our beta, which is awesome in one way, but also just exposed to some scale issues that we've been all over.
So yeah, these are the top kind of issues in terms of, like Craig said, our focus, and the number one focus, has been getting the game to behave as we expect out in the wild. So that means getting people into the game, and then all of the features behaving as we expect with the scale of people that we've been seeing. Right?
Some of the issues, like things unlocking or gold bounces, is because we have a lot of servers and services. All of those things tend to be scale related. So when those services get hit really hard, we actually have to optimize them as we go. So even though our first client update's coming tomorrow, we've actually been doing a number of server-side fixes pretty much continuously since we launched.
Yeah, some live, some during the maintenance windows that we had on Thursday and Saturday. And yeah, because everything kind of fits into a different bucket, right? Some we can do as we're live, some that we need this for, and some need to go into a client update. The top issue that we're still seeing, like kind of live as a live issue for players, is player rewards being delayed. So this is when you're cashing something in at an outpost, and you're expecting to get gold back, or expecting to kind of get your rank going up with the different trading companies. There's been significant improvements in this.
We think it's much better now for most players, and will be much quicker.
Yeah. So there is still, because it's just one of those things where you're always making improvements and changes to your services and to the amount of kind of messages you can get going through any one time. It should be better in most cases. We're still investigating some remaining cases in terms of people that have reported stuff to us. We're looking at that they've been delayed for quite a bit. Where's that stuff gone? Is it sitting on our side? When's it going to get pushed back through to people?
Particularly the earliest instances of it. Because when we first found out that was a problem, we obviously made sure we collected all the stats and all the data. So our belief is that it will come through, and if you're owed gold, you'll get that. And if there's a few isolated instances, we'll just try and track those down and remedy them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it was from those first couple of days when we just had so many people come in and play, right? That was when we saw the majority of these instances kind of happening, and we were fresh out of the gates, right? So the second one, so the achievements being delayed. So this has been something that's been kind of changing status day by day, right?
Yeah, it's been on for a bit, it's been off for a bit.
Yeah, and so this was one of the areas that was kind of hottest for us, I guess, in terms of messages being sent backwards and forwards across our services. So we made the decision over the weekend to again disable these for temporarily, so that we're storing them on kind of our end. So we're keeping track of everybody that's getting achievements, but we weren't then firing them back through the pipe. And the reason we did that was to allow everybody that came at the weekend to play, because we felt that if we had these on, then we'd probably start hitting some of the issues here, which I guess is number 3, right? So people having access. It felt like let's let everybody that turns up during the weekend, which again was a very busy, very kind of record-breaking time for us. Let's get them all in, playing the experience and having a good experience.
Yeah, and a couple of people have reached out to us and messaged that, hey, I've done the achievement, I've reached the threshold, will I get my achievement? And the answer to that is yes, we've got all the stats, we're just making sure we maintain that data and the integrity of it. So the behaviour we're expecting to happen is when we turn it back on service side, so the client update work's been done, that will be in the next update on Tuesday, I guess tomorrow as we film this. When the server work comes back on, if you've reached a lot of those achievement thresholds, they should just all pop through continuously. So the player behaviour you should expect is you log in, everything's all up and running, and you should get a load of achievements.
Cool. And so kind of number.
It's worth saying actually, there's still some services work ongoing with that. So the client work will be done tomorrow. The services work will probably be through this week.
Yeah.
So our ETA on that, maybe end of the week, maybe into the weekend.
Yeah.
We're doing it as quick as we can. We just want to make sure we do it in a way that doesn't lose any data.
Yeah.
That's the important thing for us.
Yeah. So number 3, kind of, we feel broadly that we're in a good place around this in terms of players having access at kind of peak time. Again, we saw that throughout the weekend. We had a little kind of wobble, I think Friday night, briefly, but we got on top of that and we're good. And then throughout the weekend, it was in a strong place. But so we're continuing to monitor this as we kind of move forward day by day. But broadly, we feel like we're kind of on top of that.
And just, to give a sense of scale, we're 2 to 3 times the concurrency we've ever seen before, and we're kind of coping with that. What was a high concurrency before is now a new normal.
Yes.
And we're actually getting more and more players. So again, we'll talk about momentum and numbers and stuff at a future day. But at the moment, it's really about making sure the game runs as well as it can.
Yeah, and then the fourth point here, these are isolated incidents we're getting. Again, I think from those first couple of days after launch, again, because of all the amount of stuff that was kind of going through the system, there was sometimes characters that you'd selected and stuff, when you were going back in, a little bit of their stuff was kind of almost getting overwritten, so you'd see little
like
details
scars,
missing, hair colour, stuff like that.
Yep.
We think these are isolated, so we've made a fix in the game update so this can't happen in future. But for anyone that has been affected by this, we'd advise you get in touch with our customer services and submit a report there. Let us know your gamer tag, and I'm going to mute my laptop. If you
our team can go and have a look at it.
Yeah, we'll look into each individual one and look what can we do to kind of address that. So
we actually, we've only seen a couple of reports of this, so we actually think it's
it's pretty
isolated.
But if it's happened to you, let us know via our support, via the customer support stuff at seaofthieves.com, and we'll get on each individual case and look to resolve.
So as you can see, actually, when we stood in front of you, I guess Wednesday last week, all the days have blurred together. Really, this players having access issues to the game was our number one issue. Like I say, I think we feel that's broadly sorted. I think we feel these are on a good path, and that's what the team are focused on. So. Even after a week, like I say, we've learned a ton, but the client update that's coming tomorrow, the services fix we've done in the back end, we think is going to make the game just way more accessible and just better for everyone to make sure they can get in, play with their friends. Yeah,
and so for the game update that's coming tomorrow, so this is our first update to the game client itself.
Yep.
There's a ton of changes in this, in the region of 170 different changes have gone.
Yeah, there's bug fixes, performance optimization,
stability, some stuff for the
change.
Services stuff that needs to be done on the client. So a really wide array of changes. And so we had to make a decision on whether we get this out there now or we wait a little bit of time, maybe even a few days, to allow the patch size to get kind of smaller because there's work going on around that. Our ideal scenario was that we got that patch work done and we released a smaller patch, but we've made the decision to get that full game update because of all the fixes it's got, which are going to improve the experience for everyone. But it is a full game size update. So across each platform, you're going to be downloading the client again.
And the trade-off here was really time. It was either we can get it out to players quicker with all the fixes, or we can spend more time with the patch work and verifying that.
Yeah, and ultimately it's going to make improvements in all of these areas quicker for all of our players, right? Yeah. And so for that, it was kind of a no-brainer that let's get this out. And we're also planning to release this during our maintenance window on Tuesday. So that runs from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. UK time, so GMT. And we're planning to get the patch up there pretty early on in that maintenance window so players can start downloading that.
Yep, and then when the servers turn online, it'll all sync
so
back
they'll
in.
either be downloaded or they'll be sort of in the process of that. So trying to minimise the impact of that, but ultimately we felt it was the right decision because of all the fixes that it's getting out there to all of our players.
It's worth saying as well, really appreciate the support with things like the maintenance window. I know it's not ideal when everyone can't play the game all the time. We do try and obviously pick a time where it has the least impact, and we try and manage expectations as much as we can. So we will tend to kind of pick a window that we think we can get it done before that, and then if we bring the game up early, even better, rather than sort of pick a time and then have to extend it. So again, just bear with us on that. This is all new, operating an online game to the scale that Sea of Thieves is. Our maintenance window on Tuesday and Saturday that we did already went well.
Thursday and Saturday, sorry.
Thursday and Saturday, brought in some very necessary changes. The one we're going to do on Tuesday, and then really our goal is to make these as infrequent and as short as possible. Obviously, as we're now at the start, they might end up being like they've probably been a little bit more frequent than we like, but we'll try and keep them as infrequent as possible going forward.
Yeah, and so aside from that, so that's everything around our services and around just kind of getting the game to operate as we want.
Yep.
But obviously we know that there's a ton of feedback and kind of sentiment and everything around the game experience itself.
Yeah.
And that's stuff that we're kind of absorbing at the moment, we're going through, we're having discussions around, and I think we want to use a separate update to really talk to that, like what are the top feedback points, what's our view on them, and what kind of steps are we going to be taking, because all of this stuff, it's been amazing in terms of like we have a plan, we have a roadmap, but then when you get this kind of wealth of data and information and feedback from your players, it really starts impacting kind of, okay, what actually do we want to go and tackle next? What's the stuff? So we're right in the middle of that kind of those conversations.
And it's worth saying as well, it's definitely mixed as well. Like we've had people that love the game and are having a great experience, and we want to make sure we maintain that and help evolve the game that they want. And also we hear a lot of feedback about areas where people have had issues playing, or they want things improved, or they have things that they want to see in future content updates. So as Joe said, we are listening. Like I say, we're 7 days in, so we're still very much absorbing that, and we'll try and get again back in front of you guys, in a video where we talk about some of that stuff and almost like the top issues and sentiment version rather than because these are kind of bugs and service scale issues. So we hope to get in front of you very soon and talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so thanks to everybody that has played so far, that has worked, that has stuck with us while we've worked through kind of any of these kind of launch and scale issues and stuff, and who has provided feedback and everything, because honestly, it massively helps us. So that everyone that's reporting their issues is providing feedback. It all feeds into our work, into our planning. Just thanks for all the great stories and the great moments as well so far.
Yeah, and just I know. And as I said this last week, it's frustrating when you have issues. It's frustrating for us when you have issues. Our services teams, our engineering teams are working round the clock. We're making sure we, support you and we do things as quick as we can. We need to make sure whenever we roll out any fix or server change, we try and do so without impacting anything. Like the worst case is we try and fix something too quickly and we cause a load of other issues. So just rest assured, we absolutely care. We want everyone to have the best experience they can, and we're trying to make sure that we give everything to fix and resolve issues as quick as we can. But as Joe said, thanks for the help.